not to live in my own Browns bubble, but I do think the Super Bowl had some implications for the Browns that I want to share with you guys on today's episode. Really quickly, just off the top, talking about this game as a whole. I enjoyed it. I did not want to see the Chiefs three-peat. I don't think that's good for the Browns or anyone else in the AFC to have a juggernaut in your own ranks. So kudos to Vic Fangio and that Eagles defense for dialing up a great game plan for stopping Mahomes. And that kind of segues to why I believe the Browns get some really good news out of this game, because the blueprint's out there for a second straight Super Bowl loss by Mahomes. It has all been about pressure. He was sacked 6 times. That is the most in a game in his entire career. The second most was 5, and that was in another Super Bowl loss against the Buccaneers. He was pressured 15 times, and the Eagles did it without blitzing a single time. Vic Fangio just let his 4 guys up front loose, and he dropped everyone else in coverage. And that, to me, was the secret that the Eagles revealed for how to beat Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. If you send too many guys, you're going to get diced and picked apart by Mahomes because he is so good at the blitz. He is so good at picking up tendencies by the defense and getting the ball out to the right spot at the right time when pressure comes his way. But the Eagles sent 4 the entire game. Those 4 guys wreaked havoc. They should have collectively been the MVP of the game, by the way. Like, no offense to Jalen Hurts, but those 4 guys dominated, and they were the biggest X factor in this game. But the blueprint is pressure him. Pressure, 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 which that's not a brand new idea. Oh, you want to make a quarterback uncomfortable and bring the worst out of him? Sack him a bunch and bring a bunch of pressure on him. But the way you do that, I think, is the ultimate takeaway from this game. It's sending 4, and you need 4 good guys. You can't just send 4 Joe Schmoes out there and hope they can beat what's always been a very good Kansas City offensive line. So if you're only sending 4, you need 4 great defensive linemen that don't need the assistance of a blitzing linebacker or nickel. Insert Myles Garrett, who does not need the assistance of a linebacker or a nickel. And I've got to think that the Bills at halftime of this game were already blowing up Andrew Berry's phone, taking down cell towers in Cleveland to get Myles to Buffalo. Because Garrett has shown he can get to the quarterback without a problem. He is the number 1 pass rusher in football. His numbers back that up. And if you want to rush 4 so you can drop 7 in coverage, Myles Garrett's going to be a great part of that 4-man rush. And so walking away from this game, one's got to think that all the other competitive teams in the AFC that want to copycat, and keep in mind, we live in a copycat world in sports, are thinking, we got to find a way to get to Mahomes with only 4 guys, so we got to have 4 great defensive linemen. Who better than Myles Garrett, who, by the way, just requested a trade? What great timing for us. So more on this in just a second here, but really quickly and selfishly, we are so close to 41,000 subscribers. So if you are looking for a free Browns YouTube channel, it's going to keep you up to speed during free agency and the draft. I invite you to scroll on down, click the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and you're going to get great Browns content in return. Coming back to Buffalo here. I think the Bills might be the only team that would offer 3 first-round draft picks. Not solely out of desperation, but because they know their first-round draft picks are as good as an early second-round draft pick. I mean, this is a trade idea that I cooked up in, a quarter second, and it's just 3 first-round picks, right? And that might look really good on surface. 3 ones for Myles Garrett. But keep in mind, where are those first-round picks going to be? This year, it's 30th overall. And if you just go off of recent history, at best, we're talking the 25th overall draft pick. So when we talk about trading first, we have to keep in mind, who are we talking about? We're talking about the Bears or the Falcons. Those are teams who are picking early to middle round 1. We're talking about the Bills. We're looking at picks 30, 25, 27, 28, 30. I mean, imagine if the Bills just repeat all this in the future. We're going 30, 25, 27. You're not getting premium first-round draft picks. You are getting more or less second-round talent with fifth-year options. There are not 32 players in every single draft class who have a first-round grade on them. No, there's usually about 20 or so. And then there's about 15 that could go early round 2, late round 1. And the only difference is who do you want to get the fifth-year option on? And that's got to be a big piece of the puzzle for Cleveland when negotiating with a team like Buffalo. Sure, you're getting 3 ones, but they're not early first-round draft picks. So if you were Andrew Berry, would you do this trade? One has to think that after this game, Myles Garrett's value has skyrocketed. It's like Doge or GameStop at its peak. The secret's out. You want to beat Mahomes? Send 4, drop 7. But you better have 4 good guys. And Garrett would be the last piece of the puzzle for Buffalo because they've got 7 good guys they can drop in coverage, but they struggled at generating pressure in the AFC Championship game. Here's a hot take, maybe like medium to mild hot. I would rather acquire fewer first-round picks, but have them be earlier in round 1. If I were the Browns and I got a phone call from the Bills, the Falcons, and the Bears, I might be more interested in talking to the Bears and the Falcons based on where they have historically picked in the first round. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second here. But today's show is made possible thanks to our friends over at Mando. Mando is a whole body deodorant safe to use anywhere on your body. With my big day coming up in a few months, it is wedding diet season, and it also means walking to work every day. And it's about a 1.5-mile stroll for me, so I can work up a little bit of a sweat. But luckily, I've got Mando whole body deodorant just sitting at my desk waiting for me when I get in. That way, I am not the smelliest guy in the office. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Mando is offering new customers $5 off their starter pack at shopmando.com with promo code CHAT. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, I've got a discount code to get you guys hooked up on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. Let's discuss a potential trade again, because I was talking about trading with maybe a team like the Falcons, who desperately need a pass rusher. They just finished 8-9. They've got Michael Penix entering year 2, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, all in their rookie contracts. This is a team that could make this type of move where they feel like now is the time to strike. And so you could get 3 firsts from Buffalo, or would you rather have 2 firsts from Atlanta, but one of those first-round picks is 15 spots earlier than where Buffalo is selecting this year? I'd rather go this option here. I'd rather pick 15 this year, see what happens in 2026. Maybe the Falcons go on a deep run, maybe not. But I'm more confident in the Bills going on a deeper run. And so I'd rather pick 15 spots earlier in 2025 than have a 2027 first-round draft pick that's likely going to be in the late 20s, early 30s. Or you could go an even more extreme route, like dealing with the Bears, who made a very similar trade 6 years ago. They had Mitch Trubisky entering year 2 of his contract. They felt like now is the time to strike, so they traded for Khalil Mack, former Defensive Player of the Year from the Raiders, and they gave up multiple first-round draft picks. Now, in this trade here, I don't have the Browns getting multiple firsts, but they are getting a 10th overall pick. And to me, that might be more valuable than 2 firsts. Like, I'd rather have the 10th than the 30th and the 29th. Is that a crazy take? That might be a bad take. I don't know. But 10th overall pick, 41st as well, one of their second-round picks this year, and a second-round pick next year. This, to me, with the 10th overall pick, might be more valuable than 3 first-rounders from Buffalo. The big pro from the first rounder from Buffalo is it helps you move up to get a quarterback in next year's draft. which is definitely a very good factor, and you could possibly persuade me or probably persuade me at that point alone. But I do want to really emphasize, if you're making a trade, it's not just about what you're getting. It's about who you are getting it from. And the Falcons and the Bears are better teams to bet on if you're Cleveland to give you earlier future draft picks than Buffalo. One more thing I want to talk about when it comes to Myles Garrett. He went on quite the tour on Radio Row in New Orleans. I think when he first requested his trade, most people were kind of understanding and on his side of, we don't blame you, Myles. This front office and this team is wasting the prime of your career. 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win. You're 29 years old. I understand why you want to go and play for a competitive team. I get that. And I've always had like this beef with players that pick money to go to a worse team than take a little bit less money and go to a competitive team, because the reasoning is, well, they've got to make the most of while they're in the prime of their career. Yeah, but is $5 million worth being on a 3-win team when you could take a little bit less and go to a contending playoff team? But I digress. I understood Myles Garrett's trade request. Didn't love it, but I understood it. Now I think he's lost a lot of the fan base. He has paraded himself around Radio Row, talking to anyone who has a microphone, hopping on ESPN, hopping on the Rich Eisen show, hopping on every other show, and it's starting to feel like he is not burning bridges, but losing the fan base's defense. And it's just pouring salt on the wound. And with that, I think the team might start looking at it of, well, maybe at first we wanted to cooperate with you and find a middle ground about what's a good team to trade you to that you want to go to, and we think we can get a fair trade back from. Now you've gone so public, talking all about how the front office and yourself are not aligned on the future of this team, and you're more or less saying that you don't believe in this front office. They may not be so inclined to do right by Myles on the way out. I came across this tweet here. It's a Falcons beat reporter quote tweeting Tony Grossi, a Browns beat reporter, who was saying Myles Garrett wants out. And this Falcons beat reporter says, yeah, but he said he wants to go to a Super Bowl contender. Falcons have had 7 straight losing seasons. Got bad news, or maybe good news for D. Orlando Ledbetter. Myles Garrett does not have a say in where he gets traded. He does not have a no-trade clause. We can't veto a trade to the Falcons. Now, he could put a lot of pressure on the Falcons not to trade for him by having his agent tell Atlanta, Myles is not going to sign a contract extension with you guys, and it'll be Hassan Reddick all over again. But that's a pretty extreme route to go down, because now he's sitting out training camp, he's taking fines, he's losing a lot of money. May not want to do that. I don't think the Browns are going to do right by Myles with the way he went around New Orleans and didn't badmouth the team, but just didn't shed a lot of positive light on the team. The Browns might go, hey, Myles, after that, I wouldn't say stunt you pulled, but tour you took. If we get a call from Buffalo and Chicago, and they're similar picks or similar value in trade and compensation, we're going to take Chicago. Because even though you might prefer to go to Buffalo because they're that much closer to winning a Super Bowl, the Bears are giving us a little bit more. And maybe we would have done right by you and taken a little bit less so that you could have gone for a closer, competitive, contending team. But after that week you had in New Orleans, no, we'll take the little bit more. It could be the difference of both teams offer similar trade proposals, but the Bears kick in an extra 3rd-round draft pick. Not a make or break. Maybe it's a 4th-round pick. But Cleveland decides, yeah, we're going to trade you where we want to trade you. So you wanted this. Here you go. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Before we wrap up, I just want to give you a quick sneak peek of the video I'm going to put out in a couple of hours on the channel, because this is such a big topic. I didn't want to merge it with the Myles Garrett trade value going up from the Super Bowl. So make sure you come back in, 4 or 5 hours so, depending on when you're watching this, because we're going to drop a whole new video on Aaron Rodgers potentially coming to the Browns, since we got a lot of news on Super Bowl Sunday that the Jets informed Rodgers they will be moving on from him sometime between now and the start of the new league year. So I'll get the pulse on this right now. Do you want to sign Aaron Rodgers? It's a no for me, dog. I'm not interested in Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he is all that great anymore. The biggest pro you can come up with is maybe you could convince Myles to stay if you tell him our plan is to go get Rodgers, and Myles still believes Aaron Rodgers is that MVP quarterback from not too many seasons ago. But that's a desperation attempt, and I think that's catering to one player's needs instead of what's best for the whole team. Let's pick a card to wrap up today's episode. We have Super Bowl champion Reed Bartkus. He's wearing his A.J. Brown jersey right now. Reed, congratulations. I do mean that.
Thank you. It was all me. I was on the field.
Yeah, you're the 12th man. All the mean stuff you said on Twitter about opposing players.
What?
That's what did it.
Never.
The burner you had trolling Kelsey and Mahomes. All right, Reed. Which card do you want to pick? You got to pick a card that's important to the Eagles.
Yeah,
which is a symbolic pick.
We're gonna go with King of Clubs.
How does that connect to the Eagles?
They're kings of the NFL.
Okay.
And
yeah, I guess so.
Clubs for Irish. I don't know.
Yeah. That's good enough for me, dog.
All
right. Here we go.
All right, Randy Jackson.
I know. I've done 2 now. Why do you have Randy Johnson's autograph on a mixed martial arts weapon? Bumped into on the street, and all I had was this. You're not going to not get Randy Jackson's autograph. I would have done the exact same thing. You want to do karate in the garage? Yep. I'm going to go with 5 of diamonds. You were close, dude. King of diamonds. Oh. King of diamonds. That's going to do it for our first video today. I will be back in a couple of hours with another video.